Comic Book Savant, episode 332.
I know this. This I know. All that I have, all that is me, resides inside my poetry. And every time I write a rhyme, it might be the line that sets mine free. And also, I know that I don't.
Welcome to the Comic Book Savant. I'm your host, James Harris. This week, I'm going to be doing a movie review on the DC animated release, Teen Titans: The Judas Contract. This has been a movie that's been a long time in the works. It was actually when they first launched the DC animated initiative back in the early 2000s. This was actually one of the movies they announced doing, and it kind of went from being in production, being rumored, to off the books, to back on, and they finally got it done after all these years, which looking forward to doing a review on it. But before we get into that, as always, I'm a proud member of the Comics Podcast Network. You can find them over at comicspodcast.com. If you like this show and you're looking for more comic book related podcasts to listen to, that's a great place to go. It's just a real one-stop shop when you're looking for comic book related podcasts. You can find anything from a single-person podcast like me to an ensemble, roundtable, discussion podcast. You can find ones on particular publishers, characters, teams. It's so many different themed podcasts out there that's still in the realm of comic book podcasts. So it's just a one-stop shop where, like I said, a lot of us podcasters came together a long time ago. I think the Comics Podcast Network started with about 30 shows, and it's literally hundreds of different podcasts listed there. So again, if you're just dipping your toe, or you have listened to some comic podcasts, but you only listen to a few and you're looking to expand that, it's a real good portal or starting off point to try to discover some new things to listen to. So again, if you like this show and want more different or varied content, stop by the Comics Podcast Network, check it out, and try some of the shows out. And if you try something out and you really enjoy it, I always encourage you guys to do this when I do this little part of the show, is that take time, if you have a moment, shoot that podcaster email, tell them, hey, I found your show through the Comics Podcast Network. I've listened to an episode, a few, I'm enjoying your content. Keep up the good work. A lot of times that goes a long way in getting that feedback, especially when you have new listeners coming through, or even if you've listened for a while and haven't reached out to the content creator. A lot of times it could mean a lot, that just getting that feedback to motivate them or push them forward to continue doing the content. So if you have a moment, always try to take time to do that when you listen to any, not just my podcast or a comic book related podcast, but if you have a moment of free time, through reviews, if you do like iTunes reviews or a quick email, or, send them a tweet, any of those kind of things, definitely do it. It means a lot. I'm telling you from experience. And as always, I want to give a shout out to our sponsor for this and every episode, which is InStockTrades.com. It is the best place online to go when you're looking for your collected editions, trade paperbacks, Marvel Masterworks, Omnibus editions, Absolute editions, you name it. It is, the place, one of the best places online that you can go to get some of the best prices. They have discounts from 35 to 42 to their deals of the week, which is up to 50% off, and they have some really good deals going on this week. They have the Batman Nightfall Omnibus Hardcover Volume 1. This is 50% off, originally $99.99, at 50% off, only $49.99. We also have, as a deal of the week, Batman the Golden Age Omnibus Hardcover Volume 3. That is 50% off as well. Originally $75. It's at $37.50 right now. Great deal, 50% off. We also have Legionnaires Trade Paperback Book 1. This is 50% off, originally $34.99. It listed right now for $17.49. And last but not least, we have the Marvel Masterworks Captain America hardcover Volume 9, and also the Marvel Masterworks Volume 9 variant cover to it as well. Both originally $75, listed at $37.50. So great deals. You can get either a cover edition, which is phenomenal. If you're not familiar, if you are a U.S. customer, you can, if you place an order that's $50 or more, you get free shipping within the U.S., which really can come in handy. It's real easy by some of these deals because these are some, bigger editions that are a little bit more pricier. You can just buy one or two of these books that are just listed at the deals of the week. Hit that threshold, you get free shipping. So that's a real benefit to that. If you are international customer, you still get all the great savings. You just don't get that free shipping. That's only for U.S. based customers. But still, you're still saving a great deal from what the retail would be. So you get to partake of the savings, and they have some of the most reasonable international shipping rates around. So definitely it's worth looking into. And I also like to thank them for their cooperation, being a sponsor with the contest we just finished up that I announced last episode for the $25 gift certificate for InStockTrades.com. I'm going to be doing more promotions like that with them coming forward. It'll be another one coming up sometime in a few months, probably sometime closer to the summer. So be on the lookout for that as well. And let's get into the meat of it. We're talking about Teen Titans: The Judas Contract. It's the latest DC animated release. This is directed by Sam Lau. I hope I pronounced it correctly. Liu Lau. Or Liu. Maybe it's Liu. I can't remember. I've seen him in an interview one time before, and I can't remember exactly how he pronounces it, so I hope I didn't butcher it too bad. And the movie is written by Ernie Altbacker, and the breakdown is as follows. Tara Markov is a girl who has power over earth and stone. She is also more than she seems. Is the newest Teen Titan an ally or a threat? And what are the mercenary Deathstroke's plans for the Titans? And the cast is as follows. We have Stuart Allen reprising his role as Robin, Damian Wayne. We have Jake T. Austin back as a Blue Beetle, Jamie Reyes. We have Thaisa Farmiga as Raven, Rachel Roth. And we have Sean Mayer as Nightwing Dick Grayson. Brandon Suhau as Beast Boy, Garfield Logan. We have Kari Walgreen as Starfire, Miguel Fiera as Slade Wilson Deathstroke. We have Jason Spizak as Wally West Kid Flash, Crispin Freeman as Roy Harper Speedy, Christina Ricci as Tara Markov, a.k.a. Tara, and Greg Henry as Sebastian Blood / Brother Blood. Good cast. The first half of the cast for our Stuart Allen, Jake T. Nelson, Thaisa Farmiga, Sean Mayer, Brandon Soho, all in, I want to say Miguel Ferrer, all are reprising roles that they've done in the DC animated universe before. We just, not too long ago, had Teen Titans versus the Justice League. All these guys played, did voice roles in those. We know Stuart Allen. He's been Damian Wayne throughout many of the DC animated Batman-related films and the other Teen Titan film, as well as Sean Mayer as Nightwing Dick Grayson. He's been in multiple movies at this point as Nightwing. I love that continuity they kind of have within the DC animated universe, that they will bring back the same. They have that continuity. They are using the same voice actors, especially if you've seen them, not too long ago. And they're producing more of these now. When they first started out, and maybe DC animated started around, this will be 11 years me doing the show in August. So So like 06, I guess, is around the time they started, because I've been reviewing them since they started. That they have been doing, they were producing maybe like 2 a year, and they were big events. Now, sometimes they can do anywhere from 3 to 4 movies in a year, or closely. I think we're getting close to 3 on average now. And they're coming out every, it seems like they're putting out one close to every quarter. So we're not quite at 4 a year, but if it spills over into the next year, that 4th one's coming right out. So they must be doing extremely well. I really enjoy them. They've really have established themselves, and it's something they do, earlier on, way back in 06 when this was first starting up. Marvel had their animated direct to home video initiative as well. They faded out quickly. They maybe 4 or 5 years in, they pretty much gave up. DC has stuck with it, and the quality has gotten better. The subject matter, that the way they adapt these has grown, tremendously over that time frame. Just Sam Liu, the director, he's worked on DC animated projects for a while, as well as he did some for Marvel, some of their better ones. And just to give you the idea, Sam Liu did Hulk versus, which was one of the better Marvel ones, because Marvel again has done nearly as many as DC, because they stopped putting the resources into doing it, which I'm really surprised that they haven't started that back up, seeing the success that DC has and seeing that they're owned by Disney, that they haven't gone that route. Got back into that fray, because I would love seeing that certain things that are not going to be live action adaptations to be at least done in animated form and adapted well. But they did for a while, and he did Hulk versus. He's also directed Superman, Batman, Public Enemies. He did a really good animated Planet Hulk over for Marvel. Then he did Justice League Crisis on Two Earths. He did All-Star Superman. He did Batman Year One. Justice League Gods and Monsters, Justice League versus Teen Titans, Batman the Killing Joke, which probably was from my least favorite out of movies that he's directed, but I don't think he had anything to do with it. I just think they took the wrong approach in trying to adapt it, and they added some things to kind of give it a longer runtime that just was not a good move. But you can listen to the episode where I review the Killing Joke animated film, and you'll get all my things with that. But again, it's a rich history of it. They've stuck with it. They've been able to adapt. And the whole thing about the Judas Contract, where I spoke on earlier, that it was a touchy thing for them to develop for a long time, because of the subject matter was very dark. It had some dark sexual tones. Also, in the if you are familiar with the original source material of the new Teen Titans comic book, I'm not going to get into it because I don't want to get into too many spoilers, but they've been able to get a little darker, with Batman Killing Joke. That was the first one with an R rating. They've done Justice League Dark as well. It was also rated R, so they've been able to go a little darker. So now I think, if any, because they were able to do some darker tones, I think they understand where their demographic is, and it's more aimed towards us as adults with the main DC animated releases. They do have other more, like you've seen me review, like Batman Unlimited, which is more aimed towards kids. And then what was it? The Justice League. What was it? I reviewed it a few years ago now. They did a Justice League. It was a more kiddie animated style, and they do things like New Teen Titans, like you see on the Cartoon Network. And also Teen Titans Go and Justice League Action is their newest one, that I feel like they're more aimed towards the kids, and their shorter episode lengths, things like that they do to appease kids. So this here more appeals to us as the adult demographic of their comics fans doing true adaptations and things of that nature. And I like that. I think now some of the stuff now I'm kind of feeling like is feeling like a little bit of overindulgent, especially when you see something like the first half, the additional content they added on to the Killing Joke. I feel like it was justified here. You know what? Was it rated R? I can't even remember, was it rated R or not? I'm saying that, but again, they've just really more so than anything else, them feeling comfortable going darker and putting out these movies and knowing that they're going to do well. I mean, for the longest time, this is one story that it's PG-13. Okay, that's good. So it's not necessarily rated R. But this is a little bit heavier. They did tone down some of the things that was a major concern years ago when they first were talking about adapting it, is dealing with the dark and some of the dark sexual overtones suggested or portrayed in the original source material as one of the main reasons why they didn't adapt it, just like Batman: The Killing Joke. They went back and forth on years. That was one of the first movies they announced that they were going to try to do with the Judas Contract, and just because darker material. But, since then, like I said, they've done Justice League Dark, The Killing Joke, some of the Justice League movies from the New 52 that had darker, very darker tones, Justice League Gods and Monsters, which I'm glad they let Sam Liu do it, because he's handled dark tones extremely well, because Justice League Gods and Monsters was a little on the dark side. Crisis on Two Earths, and he knows how to handle that subject matter with the right sensitivity and still be able to tell a great story in the process. So they had the right choice behind the scenes to make sure this was adapted properly, and I feel like this was adapted way better than The Killing Joke. I was kind of disappointed by that. Like half of the movie, was a very true adaptation. The stuff they added onto it just, to me, brought the overall experience down. Where here, I felt like it was spot on to the original source material. Some of the things that I will say is that at parts of the movie, the animation seemed a little less polished, but again, I kind of feel like with this, they're churning these movies out. They have a laundry list of movies that they want to do, and that they're really turning these around pretty fast. So we're getting like 2 to almost 3 full releases a year. So, I felt like in the non-action scenes and some of the slower scenes where it was just more character development stuff, which I feel like those scenes were handled well. At points, the animation has looked a little less polished. And I've mentioned this at times with some of the different DC animated films, even the main ones or the offshoots like Batman Unlimited, things like that. You could definitely see what artwork or assets were reused. The artwork is not as sharp, but the action scenes were beautifully rendered. But again, just especially earlier on in the movie, and it always seems like it's earlier in the movies where you'll see a few scenes that are, like I said, not as sharp, and they were just some few where the Titans were, sitting around in Titan's tower. It just didn't look as crisp, and the line work wasn't as sharp and looked as complete as in other sequences. And the movie starts with a really huge action scene, and it looked beautiful. So coming off of it, it was very noticeable to the eye. But again, I know, and I've been accused of this over the years, is that, I'm borderline OCD. So I look for these things. I take, when I do the reviews for you guys, real seriously. So, I go through, I have my little, my phone or my computer up, and I take meticulous notes, and then I go back through. And that was just one thing that caught my eye that I definitely wanted to make a note of to you guys. So does it hurt the overall quality of the movie? No, but it's noticeable when you see it. And I guess I watch enough of these at this point, because I review all of them, that it becomes glaring to me after a while. I think the voice casting for this movie was exceptionally strong. You know, I used to talk about Andrea Romano, and she has had a over 30 plus year career as a casting director for animation, and she has been the go-to person for DC through the Batman animated series, Superman, the Superman cartoon, the whole Timverse stuff, going back further to stuff like Smurfs. You know, she's worked all over animation. She's been a casting director for stuff like the Boondocks. You'll be surprised like how many, if it's been any type of animated project in your lifetime, unless you're older than me, being 41, she's probably touched it or worked as the casting director on that show at some point. It's her filmography just and body of work is just astounding. But DC is recently, she's really kind of started to fall back a little bit, and I think really 2015, early 2016, she's kind of slowed down her workload, and they've been bringing along this new guy, Wes Gleason, and he's doing a really good job, and I really think he knocked it out of the park with the casting. Yes, most of the casting that he picked were already people in place, but he's been eking in, and I can't remember if he was the casting director on Justice League versus New Teen Titans, bringing in the Teen Titans that he did, but he brought him back and adding Christina Ricci, which I wouldn't necessarily have put in a superhero, would think that a superhero movie would be her thing. She really does a great job as the Tara character. She really stole the show in the movie. She was really the centerpiece and a linchpin of making this movie work. And she really, I felt like, I've liked her as an actress, as far as the myriad of movies she's been in. I think one of my favorite performances is like Black Snake Moan, which was like just really great performance in that movie. And I feel like this is like a really great performance for this. And again, it's like certain times you hear certain big name actors, you're not familiar with them doing any voice work, but she came in, you could tell from her voice work that she really committed, and she knocked it out the park. And I was really shocked and even maybe taken aback that I wouldn't think like because she's, to me in my mind, I think she's a big Hollywood actress. So to see her level of commitment and professionalism and really putting in such a great performance was like a really pleasant surprise, because sometimes you feel like maybe a big actor will come in and phone it in. By no means she didn't do that, and she was one of the pleasant surprises of the voice cast that I really wasn't expecting her to be so committed to the role, and she really did. Certain things that one thing I didn't really care for in the ending sequence, it's like an overpowered amalgamation of brother blood at the end of the movie, and it just felt like it was a try-hard attempt. You know how you see certain things and it just be like, not so much. It kind of take you out of the movie. It's similar to the feeling, and I hope this is not a spoiler at this point because it's been out for a while now, but kind of what I said in my Logan review, how I felt about the OP, young, souped-up clone of Logan that he fights at the end of the movie. And again, I hope this is not a spoiler because it's been enough time, I think. And it kind of I felt like it was cool to see, but it kind of took me out of the movie a little bit and kind of hurt the overall story for me. I kind of feel that way with this appearance of like brother blood, because it was just so little bit like so far to the left, and it's been a while since I read the source material, so I can't remember if that happened in that particular manner or that appearance, but it just kind of was like made me raise my eyebrow a little bit. Like I said earlier, I feel like is a very strong adaptation of the original source material for all the beats. There's certain things that they didn't do beat for beat, note for note, which I understand that because they try to keep these run times under or close to around 90 minutes. I think it was a missed opportunity at certain parts of it. I felt like with the heaviness and the strength of the story, I could have had it be a little bit longer. I mean, I could have easily stomached another 15 to 20 minutes of length to do some more. They did a really good job of building up these characters. And since this is it's kind of funny that in live action, DC kind of struggles with doing this connected universe and doing it right, but they've been doing it so right in animation. And I think is the character development of these individuals, because you can see them pop up differently in other movies. They could have committed a little bit more to that. I kind of feel like, going forward, they shouldn't be stuck in this format of only, doing per se like a 90-minute movie. If the story, they've done more where they've done The Dark Knight, and they did it in 2 movies, then they released it as an ultimate set with it as a, close to 2.5 hour runtime, and it was phenomenal. So I feel like if certain stories warranted to do a longer movie, and I felt like I could have stayed in this world with these characters and dealing with what they went through a little bit longer. I missed them not bringing back Wally West to help Dick at the end of the story, like in the original Judas Contract in the comics. Because I felt like how they set it up at the beginning of the very beginning of the movie, seeing him and like I said, it's, Speedy's there, and like the original Teen Titans team, that he didn't have that moment where he went back, because it was such a pivotal thing, and it adds to the connection that Wally and Dick have with one another and their close friendship. So I kind of would have liked to have seen that, but they chose to take that part out of it. I don't, maybe it was just to keep the runtime in and around where they wanted it to be. I'm not quite sure, but I kind of miss being that. I kind of felt cheated because of what I know from the source material. But again, they have to trim the fat at places. It didn't hurt it with the runtime being what it was, but I felt like with the heft of the story and how well they adapted it, that the runtime could have been a little bit longer to give, like I said, some of these great characters more character moment and more depth to them, and gave them more. Some characters didn't get utilized as much. Like I felt like Raven was kind of underutilized in this movie, but versus the Justice League versus Teen Titans movie was really kind of all about her. So she kind of played a secondary role in this movie. I get it, because she was the bulk of the focus in the other movie, but I would have liked to see her get a little bit of more shine, because to see how her character has progressed a little bit more. But she was really reduced to the background, and I felt like out of the Titans, she was the least utilized. All the other spotlight shifted proportionately through all the other characters. Also, definitely want to talk about this, the callback and the Easter eggs from all the previous animated films, just especially when it came to Deathstroke. We seen, and I can't remember which movie it was, which Batman movie. Oh gosh, I can't remember which one it is now, because they come out so frequently. I can't remember the names of all of them. It was one of the Batman movies. He had history with Robin, but I like in this that it's not necessarily Dick Grayson Robin that he has the issue with, like in the source material. Is Damian Wayne Robin in the future, and we've seen the history take place in a previous movie where Deathstroke was groomed to take over the League of Assassins, but Ra's al Ghul had plans to put Damian in that position, so he kind of turned on the League, and that was the whole thing. That was, and like I said, in one of the other Batman movies, and I'm blanking on which one it was off the top of my head. Not too much dead air. I just want to pull it up on IMDb, because if not, it's going to bother the heck out of me. But I just don't know which one it was. Oh my gosh. I hate that. I get a good thought, and it's one thing that I didn't research in advance like I normally do with everything else, and then it bothers me when I want to try to tell you guys about it. And let me see. Did he do the voice? Okay, Miguel Ferrer. He didn't do Deathstroke voice in the. I thought it might be the same actor, but it wasn't doing it. So that either way, again, they used what was already established in one of the Batman movies to set up the premise on one of what was Deathstroke's main motivation in trying to take down the Titans and being fixated in taking, Damian out of the picture early. And you saw the disdain for the two characters, and I like they touched back on that history and different other things. We saw that this was the next movie coming, and they do nice. They take a book out of Marvel's playbook with the end credit Stinger setting it up. At the end of Justice League versus Titans, we saw, Tara making her way to Teen Titans Tower. So you knew that they were finally going to do the Judas Contract. Here we see it's going to be another Teen Titans movie set up by the end credits, scene here. So I like how they're really doing that to kind of foreshadow what you're going to be seeing next. And maybe in the next year or so, coming from them with the next release. They really do a good job with that, and it really makes you invested in, watch these movies. And they've gotten better. Like I said, not everything is a hit. Some things don't, this doesn't, with me personally, click with me. Like I said, most times I feel like these are definitely solid movies. Like I said, The Killing Joke was probably my least favorite one probably in the past few years that they did, because it's kind of fell flat with me. And I really think at this point, Sam Liu has really come into his own. Like I said, when I talked about his credentials, he's had more very successful movies that I really liked, and I think he has found his, niche, and he's pumping these out, and they're just getting better and better. And I think for me, this might be, and this is tough to say with his track record, I think for me, this might be his strongest directorial effort to date, as his DC movies, because I really love his Planet Hulk adaptation. I felt like they really did a great job, and I think that's the best of the Marvel movies that they did over there when he was doing those movies, was that Planet Hulk adaptation. And like I said, I also like the end credit scene with Jericho setting up the next Teen Titans feature. That the only thing they have announced right now, and they normally announce their upcoming slate every year at San Diego Comic-Con. We do know this summer, probably somewhere around Comic-Con or shortly thereafter, the next release is going to be Batman and Harley Quinn, and that's right now it's saying summer 2017. Normally, like I said, it either comes right before they go into San Diego or right afterwards. So we'll be getting that, in a few months. My rating for this movie is a must-buy. If I had to do it on a numeric scale, I would give it a 9 out of 10. It's a very strong movie, very well adapted from the source material. Like I said, I felt like it was one of the better adaptations. I have to put it up there right now with like The Dark Knight that they did with the 2-part. What was it? Flashpoint Paradox. That was really well adapted. The first Justice League animated movie, the Justice League War. They've done some really good adaptations, and this one was such one that I wanted them to nail, kind of like how this is what I said after watching it in my head. I said, this was the adaptation that I wished Batman the Killing Joke was in the Judas Contract. They got as close to it, making some changes to make it fresh for that pure comic fans. It wasn't a page by page, panel by panel recreation of it. They did some things differently, but it stayed very true to the spirit of the original story. And I think that's what it's, at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. So I thoroughly enjoyed it for that reason, alone. And again, it was just the presentation was done extremely well. The artwork, like I said, overall, except for the little nitpicks that I spoke on earlier in the review, I felt like it was done extremely well. Again, next one is Batman Harley Quinn. I'll speak on that at some other point. They did a little teaser of it. I don't know what to think of it. Bruce Timm is, not Bruce Timm. I can't remember. It's a hot mess. It looks like a hot mess. Let me just say this first and foremost. It's still a ways out. A lot of things can change. It looks like a hot mess, though. And it looked like a whole bunch of grown men fetishizing over some of our beloved characters from the Batman animated series and doing something. Like I said, I watched the little preview snippet thing that they showed, and I wasn't feeling it at all. But every release they're gonna do, is not gonna appeal to me. It's a lot of different people out there. It might appeal to some people. What I saw kind of just made me kind of sad and feel like it's a step back, especially coming off the strong film like this. But hey, it remains to be seen. It might be good. The finished product might be good. I will watch it and review it because that's what I do at this point. DC, if you're listening, reach out, comicbooksavant@gmail.com. You can always, send me those screener copies, hook a brother up. Love you guys. Love what you're doing over there. But that's all that I have for you guys this week. As always, you can connect to me at any time. Just go to comicbooksavant.com. That is the website. I'm on Facebook, facebook.com/comicbooksavant. I appreciate you guys. I've been getting mad love on there with people going to the page and giving likes. I'm seeing I've been getting so many over the past few weeks. It's too many. I was going to try to list them off, but literally is a ton. And that would have been a whole 10-minute segment of the show, just going through everyone's name. I see you guys. I appreciate the love. If you have a moment, you're on Facebook, stop by the page. You can leave a comment, all that kind of stuff. Or you can go to the website, email me, or you can go to the Facebook page and just, leave a comment on the episode there. I'm also on Twitter at Comic Book Savant. I've been real active on Instagram. I'm getting comfortable. I told you guys this is my goal. I set forth that last year and kind of petered out along the way. I've been really committed this year and, helping myself get over the anxiety of social media and posting more. So I've been sharing a lot of stuff there, and I normally just blast it out to Twitter and Facebook as well. But then, if you follow me on Facebook, James Harris is James Harris III or whatever is just my, personal one that I just created with the show originally. I post questions and things that I look to talk about in future episodes, on there to get feedback from, I'm friends with a lot of different people in the comics industry and just fans of the show. So I take you guys' comments and what you guys chime in on and incorporate it into the show. And I have an episode coming up in the works that it'll really display what I'm talking about in that arena. So, definitely be on the lookout for that. Again, if you have a moment and you haven't done so already, stop by iTunes to give the show a review. It means a lot. It helps get the viewership up. If you want to help support the show, I have a Patreon page, patreon.com/comicbooksavant. You can help support the show there. I'm also, I have a link on the homepage of the site. If you want to support the show, it's a PayPal link. You can contribute, 50 cents, $1, whatever. I only have this one sponsor. I'm trying to grow the show, give you guys a lot of different content. I'm still working on the YouTube thing. just trying to get over my stage fright. I actually sat down and did some test video since the last episode, and I was like, okay, I got to give it another try. I wasn't crazy about it, but it's trying to just, it's a new medium. It's something I'm still trying to get my head around, but I'm making attempts. I know I've talked about it for a while. I know it's the next evolution of taking the show somewhere further than what it already is, and you always have to kind of get out of your comfort zone. And I'm comfortable doing audio, so I'm trying to conquer my own fears and to become a stronger person from it. So the videos on YouTube will be coming. It is a YouTube channel there, YouTube /Comic Book Savant. I have the custom domain for it now, so you should be able to find it. Subscribe there. You can go ahead and subscribe now. Audio, versions of the episodes upload automatically there for my hosting provider. So if you are in the office and you don't want to go through iTunes or whatever, you can just go to the YouTube page and you can listen to episodes, right there. So a lot of different options, a lot of different things going on. Again, I'm trying to grow the show, take it different places. So anything you can do to help support the show, be it financially, if it's not financially, getting the word out, sharing it on social media. If you know someone that's in the comic podcast but haven't listened to this show, just word of mouth, it all helps. It's been really, you guys have been the backbone for me, keeping the show successful and going forward. If you can't financially help support the show, doing these other things like leaving a review, I can't tell you guys how much it actually helps support the show. So if you can do financial or you can't, it's other things you can do, the spreading the word that helps this show grow. I have seen it, and I've seen it more so over the past 2 years or so, that you guys are proof positive that you guys make me and push me to keep this going. So I just want to say thank you again for everything you guys do. That's all I have for this week. I'll see you again next week for another episode of Comic Book Savant. You guys take care.
And into lyrical wholeness. And I know this, and I know this. This I know, this I know.